Hey everybody, it's Renee, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. I got these two wigs from eBay. I'll put the links for them below, and I'm going to be using the wefts from the wig on the right side of the screen and sewing them into the wig on the left side. When you're taking wefts out of your wig, you want to make sure you're taking your time and not cutting the threads that are holding the weft itself together, but just cutting the threads that are holding the weft to the wig cap. At the end of that, you're going to end up with an empty wig cap and a bunch of wefts. And depending on the wig you got or just where you got it from, you'll also end up with something called a flesh coin, which is used to simulate parting space in the wig. It's okay if you didn't end up with one of these, but I am going to be using mine a little bit later. Here I'm just pinning the wefts to the wig. You want to actually pin them in the spaces between the wefts, not right on top, because it will kind of make your wig bulky. Since I was just braiding my wig, it didn't really matter all that much, but next time I will probably sew them in the spaces. And I'm going to be sewing them into place with a curved needle and some matching thread. The stitch I used to sew my wefts into place was a back stitch, but it doesn't really matter what kind of stitch you use. You can use just a regular straight stitch, or you can do a T-stitch. You do want to make sure that you have your wig stretched out when you are sewing the wefts, because if you sew it while it's still crinkled up and you try to put it on, then you'll probably break the threads because they don't have the room to stretch along with the wig. So make sure you have it on a wig head, or like if someone trusts you enough, you can have someone wear it for you. But just make sure you do that. And like I said, it doesn't matter what thread you use, what stitch you use. And for these, I like to use a little bit of super glue on the end just to keep the thread in place. Styling the wig, at first I was going to do the bangs out of the face and towards the back of the head, and there's my cat, hello. But then I just decided also, because I didn't have enough hair to do that, that I was going to just go with how the wig came styled, which was a side part. I ended up changing that to a different bang style, and there's no parting, but just be open to change, because not everything is going to end up the way you believe it is. So you gotta accept that. And also next time, be more prepared when styling your wig and knowing that you're gonna need more hair. But I did cut off a little bit of the hair that I didn't need at the back, because I'm gonna be using it to make wefts to cover up that part and the part I showed before. When cutting your wigs or doing any styling, make sure that you take your time doing this, because guess what? It ain't gonna grow back if you cut too much. So go little by little and save what hair you can, just in case you do make a mistake or you just feel like you want to fill in some extra parts. And just be careful, take your time. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the wefts that I made and sew them into place using the same back stitch. And I also used the flesh coin by cutting it into strips that I could sew into that little bald space that's at the crown of the head. It didn't cover everything up, but it did cover up majority of it. When it comes to styling the wig, I will put a link to the video that I used. It was actually really easy, but you just have to, I'm just gonna let you guys watch, and if you have questions about it, please just leave them down below, because I'm gonna be horrible at explaining it. This little part here where you see me taking more hair from behind the center part, that's not in the original video. I did that because I knew my wig was longer and the top of the hair is kind of layered. so I wanted to make sure it was going to reach all the way down. When doing the braid in the center, make sure that you braid inward. Don't braid outward, because it'll make sense in the next part. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna shut up. Like I said, I will link the video up in the corner, and also I'll probably do like a little mini tutorial in the next video where I made the accessories for the braid, so you can see how I did it, because I messed up on it a few times and I feel like that might help y'all, but I didn't record it, but I'll record it on purpose this time. And here is the braid. This was like my second attempt at doing it, and I did take it down and do another braid, but you get the gist of it from this little part here. It was pretty long, and I'm quite proud of how it looks, even though this was the first time I did it. But the last time I do it, it will definitely be a lot better. Keep on. I also sewed a strip of elastic into the back of the wig. I should have done this before I styled it, but I ended up redoing the braid anyway. But that was just to add an extra bit of security. I just sewed each end like kind of behind where the ear tabs are. They'd be behind the ears, and it helps with keeping tension so it stays on your head. And to fill in the last of these little white parts, I just used 2 red markers, and you can't really see it anymore, so that's good, unless you like all up on my scalp, but that ain't gonna happen. I will have a tutorial on how I made the leaves and like put all the branches and flowers in the wig, but here she is. I am beyond proud of how it came out. I am so excited to go ahead and start doing the rest of the cosplay, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.